West Lincoln sold 16 homes in April, double what sold in March. And in Smithville, homes that were sitting on the market for nearly 2 months in March, they sold in 27 days. Something shifted in this market, and if you're thinking about buying or selling in Smithville or West Lincoln in 2026, you need to see this data before you make any decisions. I'm David Hildebrand, your local Smithville and West Lincoln realtor. This is the April 2026 market update. Let's get into the numbers. Quick note before we dive in, if you want this data delivered to your inbox every month as a clean PDF report, click the link in the description below and I'll send you the April 2026 edition. It's totally free, no strings attached. Here's what we're covering today. We'll start with the West Lincoln municipality, the big picture for the whole region. Then I'll zoom into Smithville specifically because the town and the broader municipality are telling very different stories right now. And I'll close with what all of this means if you're a buyer or a seller this spring. Let's start with West Lincoln. So West Lincoln posted a benchmark price of $841,300 in April. That's virtually flat from March, which was $841,400. So prices are holding steady. What's interesting isn't the price, it's everything else. Home sales doubled. We have 16 sales in April to only 8 in March. That's a 100% increase month over month. That doesn't happen quietly. This is buyers who are sitting on the sidelines in March deciding that April was the month to move. Here's the stat that I think tells the real story. Months of inventory dropped from 10.3 months in March all the way to 6.2 in April. That's a 40% drop in 1 month. 2 months ago, this market was deep into buyer's market territory. Now we're right at the border of balance. That shift has happened fast. Now, days on market also came down from 58 days on market to 47 days on market in April. Homes are selling faster. And if we look at the sales to list ratio, that went up from 95.4% in March all the way up to 98.4% in April. That's a 3.1% increase in just 1 month. That's not a soft market, that's a market where pricing correctly gets results. Now, let's zoom out and compare this April to April of last year. And honestly, this is where things get pretty real. Benchmark prices went down 5.5% year over year, 889,800 last April versus 841,300 this April. Sales volume is also down 30% from 23 homes sold in April 2025 to 16 homes sold April 2026. And then active inventory has grown 48% from 67 listings in April last year to 99 listings active in this April. And months of inventory went from 2.9%, which is a serious seller's market last April, all the way up to 6.2 months of inventory, which is in buyer's territory. So year over year, this is clearly a softer market than it was in 2025. That's the honest read, but here's the thing. I don't want you to miss this, is that the sales to list ratio is actually better this April than it was last April. 98.4% this April versus 97.2% a year ago. Homes that are priced right are still moving, and it's so important to make sure that you price your home right because there are serious buyers looking to buy in this spring market. Okay, now let's talk about Smithville specifically, because the town is telling a different story than the broader municipality, and it's a better story. Benchmark prices in Smithville have gone up from $658,400 in March to $670,900 in April. That's a 1.9% jump. And price per square foot also jumped from $427 to $513. That's a 20% increase. And then we also saw an increase in homes sold, going from 7 homes sold last month to 9 homes sold this month. And the number that really got my attention is the days on market, which went from 58 days last month, so almost 2 months, down to 27 days in April, which is a 53.4% drop in just 1 month. 27 days, that is under 1 month from list to firm sale for a well-priced home in Smithville. That is not a slow market. That's a market that is waking up. Sales to list ratio hit 98.7% in Smithville. That's the highest that it's been in months. And sellers are getting almost exactly what they're asking. And the months of inventory in Smithville specifically sits at 5.7% for April, which puts us right at the edge of balanced market territory, not a buyer's market, not a seller's market, a balanced market, which in practice means that well-priced homes move and overpriced homes will sit. Year over year for Smithville, again, there's a nuance here. Benchmark prices are down almost 7% year over year, from $720,400 in April down to $670,900 in April of this year from 2025. Sales volume is down 40%, 15 homes sold last April to just 9 homes sold in this April. And then the other thing to look at is inventory has nearly doubled. Last April, we only had 27 active listings on the market, and this April, we're up to 51 listings. On the surface, that sounds rough, but look under the hood. Price per square foot actually went up, $488 per square foot last year, up to $513 per square foot today. Homes are selling faster now than they did last April, as we see 27 days on market to 35 days on market last year. And then as we look to the sales to list ratio, we're actually sitting better this year at 98.7% versus 97% last year. So the interpretation I give every client when they ask me about this is that the market has normalized from a little bit of a frenzy that we saw in April of 2025. But the homes that are priced right and are presented well, they're actually performing better than they were a year ago. That's not something most people expect to hear, but that is what the data has shown us from this past month. So let's put these two side by side. We'll compare West Lincoln and Smithville to see, because if you're moving to West Lincoln, you might be deciding between the two. And so we'll look at them side by side to see what the data is actually showing us. So West Lincoln as a whole, the benchmark price is significantly higher than Smithville, and that'll be because you get a lot more rural properties and more expensive properties as you expand into all of West Lincoln. If you're comparing apples to apples on a standard residential home in Smithville, $670,900 is your anchor number. Days on market we see in West Lincoln is 47 days, and then again we see that has dropped. Days on market we see has gone is 47 days for West Lincoln, and then over in Smithville is 27 days. This gap matters because Smithville's inventory is moving faster than the broader municipality. If you're selling in Smithville and you're priced right, you shouldn't be sitting on the market for longer than 47 days. The Smithville data says you shouldn't need to, and that on average, things are selling in 27 days. So if we look at our sales to list ratio, 98.4 for West Lincoln and 98.7 for Smithville. Both these numbers are very strong, and both are telling you that buyers are not lowballing, and when the houses are priced right, which it seems to be that we have gotten to this past month, that buyers are paying very close to where the asking price is. So let's go look at inventory now. Active inventory in West Lincoln is 99 total. Active listings across West Lincoln, with 51 of those listings being in Smithville. That means there's meaningful choice for buyers without the market being overwhelmed. We're not in a situation where hundreds of listings are chasing 10 buyers. This feels like, and the data supports it, that we're more at an equilibrium between buyers and sellers. If you're a buyer looking at Smithville or West Lincoln right now, here's what I would tell you. You have inventory. With 99 active listings across West Lincoln and 51 in Smithville, you have a real choice. A year ago, at 2.9 months of inventory, you were fighting. Today, at 5.7 to 6.2 months, you're not. Take that seriously and use it. But do not get complacent on the homes that are priced right. A 98.7 sales to list ratio with a 27-day cumulative days on market in Smithville means well-priced properties are not sitting and waiting for you to decide. If it checks your boxes and it's priced correctly, get in quickly. Come pre-approved. Know your number. Don't negotiate based on what you think the market was 6 months ago. Negotiate based on what is actually happening right now. And if you're relocating from the GTA or Hamilton, this is a conversation we should have before you start touring homes. The commute, the school situation, the community, there are things about Smithville that don't show up in the MLS data, and you want to know before you making offers. If you want to hop on a call with me, my calendar link is in the description below. If you're thinking about selling in Smithville or West Lincoln, here's the honest version. The market has normalized from where it was in 2024 and early 2025. Benchmark prices in Smithville are down about 7% year over year. That's the reality. But the sellers who are pricing to this market, not to what their neighbor sold for 18 months ago, are getting 98.7 cents on the dollar and selling in 27 days. That's not a bad outcome. The sellers who are struggling right now are the ones who came into the market expecting 2024 prices in a 2026 environment. With 51 active listings in Smithville and buyers who have choice, overpricing means your home becomes part of the inventory problem rather than a solution to it. My advice? Price to what sells, not to what's listed. There's a meaningful difference in this market right now. If you want a free market analysis on your specific property, I'll put a link to book a call in the description. That's the April 2026 market update for West Lincoln and Smithville. Here's what you want to take away from this. Smithville is moving. 27 days on market and 98.7% sales to list ratio means that this is not a sleeping market. That's a market where the right home, priced correctly, will find a buyer. West Lincoln broadly is shifting from a buyer's market conditions towards balance, with sales doubling month over month. The direction is encouraging. If you want the full market report as a PDF, click the link in the description below. I'll send it to you directly. If you want to start a real conversation about buying or selling in Smithville or West Lincoln, my calendar link is in the description. No pressure or obligation, just a call with someone who actually lives here and works this market every day. Thinking about making a move this spring? Watch this video, Spring 2026 Home Buyer's Guide for Smithville and West Lincoln, for everything you need to know before stepping into today's market. See you in that video.